Tonight, Mats Wilander will become the #1 tennis player in the world if he beats Ivan Lendl in the final of the US Open.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Hello again from New York, where it's slightly cooler, but the weather set fair for the men's singles final in the US Open. Well, yesterday, Steffi Graf wrote her own chapter in the rich history of this championship with that magnificent Grand Slam. And today, Ivan Lendl has his chance. If he can make it 4 in a row, it'll be the first time that's happened since Bill Tilden in the 1920s. There's a big incentive for Mats Wilander too. The #1 spot in the world beckons for him. Well, watching the match with me, Billie Jean King and Cliff Drysdale. Billie Jean, despite the fact that Lendl's won the last 6 between them, a lot of people here fancy Wilander. Do you?
Well, if Wilander is going to win, what he's going to have to do is be mentally tough on the crucial points. But I always feel Wilander doesn't take enough risk. He's going to have to punish the ball more from the backcourt and when he's at net if he's going to beat Lendl. I think Lendl's going to win.
Do you, Cliff?
Yes, I do think Lendl's going to win. It's interesting, though, Simon, that remember this, if Mats Wilander wins, he will have won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam events this year. But his problem is that, well, he does everything so well, Mats Wilander does. He passes well, he's a very consistent player, he's mentally very strong. But when you compare the two, Ivan Lendl is just a little bit better than him at almost all of those things. So yes, I see Lendl winning it, but I don't think it's going to be easy because this Mats Wilander, well, he just creeps up on you in no time.
So Lendl, highly favoured up here. Ironically, the two of them live within 3 miles of each other at a place called Greenwich in Connecticut, about 45 minutes drive from here. Let's have a close look, though, at the #1 and 2 players in the world. Ivan Lendl has been the world's #1 for 3 years. He's won 6 majors, 3 French and 3 United States, but hasn't won any Grand Slam events so far this year. Here at Flushing Meadow, his toughest struggle was in the very first round, when Israel's Amos Mansdorf took him to 5 sets. His second and third round opponents, the Americans Jay Berger and Scott Davis, both went in straight sets. In round 4, just one minor hiccup against Switzerland's Jakob Hlasek, but then Derek Rostagno was quite simply overwhelmed. 18-year-old Andre Agassi had been the talking point of the championships, and at times in their semi-final, Agassi was quite extraordinary. But after dropping the first set, Lendl relaxed, the timing and length came together, and Agassi was firmly put in his place.
Game set, Mats Wilander. 3 sets to 1. 4-6, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4.
Mats Wilander has, at the age of 24, also won 6 major titles, 3 French, 3 Australian, and he's bidding to become the first man since Connors in '74 to win 3 majors in a year. After a comfortable first-round victory over the American Greg Holmes, Wilander had a titanic struggle against the '85 Wimbledon finalist Kevin Curran, and followed it with a straight sets win against his Davis Cup colleague Michael Pernfors. In round 4, he dispatched Australia's Mark Woodford, the conqueror of McEnroe, and then was taken to 4 sets by Spain's Emilio Sanchez. That took him to the semi-final against the unseeded Australian Darren Cahill. Wilander slowly stepped up the gears and by the end was in consummate form.
Game, set, and match, Wilander.
The score, 6-4, 6-4, 6-2. So we're all set then. Is Wilander going to take over the #1 spot? Mats Wilander against Ivan Lendl, the final of the men's singles in the US Open, in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to New York. Impressive view of the Big Apple, and it's turning out to be a big match. You're with us live for the opening set of this men's singles final between Mats Wilander and Ivan Lendl, and it's very much as we thought. 53 minutes have gone. We're in the opening set. Everything has gone with serve. Wilander leads 5-4. Billie Jean, it's been as we thought, but there have been a few sorties to the net, a few change of tactics.
Yes, they've been trying a little bit of everything. A lot of slice backhands for both of them. The one thing that Lendl's done is taken more of a risk. He's made many more winners, but he also has more unforced errors. But it's been pretty even otherwise.
Interestingly, I think his serve is working a little better today than it was yesterday. As you said, Simon, no breaks of serve yet in the match. Lendl has got, well, close to 60%, in fact more than that, of his first serves in. In yesterday's match with Agassi, as well as he played, and he won it in 4 sets, well, he got less than 50% of his first serves in, and it's a very important statistic, that, because if Ivan Lendl gets his first serve in, he wins at least 3 out of 4 points, and when he misses the first serve, well, then it becomes more of an even proposition. It is not so critical for Wilander, because Wilander doesn't rely as heavily on serve, of course.
It's a magnificent battle of strategy, of will particularly, and it will become one of strength, mental toughness, all those kinds of words. You're going to be hearing a lot of those. You're watching the 2 finest men's tennis players in the world. Lendl serving to stay in this first set, 4-5.
It's new balls, which means the balls are a little bit lighter. They're going to go through the air faster.
Talking about the new balls, Billie Jean, Mats Wilander, after his match yesterday, said that the humidity yesterday made the balls a little bit heavier, which is why there were so many breaks of serve between he and Darren Cahill in their semi-final match.
Well, those are some of the scores that's gone on earlier. We had a lot of junior matches, senior matches going on. We have everything here at the U.S. Open.
Pereira's from Venezuela. He's a young Venezuelan, 17 years old. He has won at least 3 Grand Slam junior events, so he's going to be a heck of a fine player.
Just out. Mats making very few unforced errors. Lendl making quite a few.
That's true, but Lendl has been absolutely going for some big forehands, and they've been winners. So you kind of there's a trade-off there.
See a bit of breeze around the place, and it often is putting the players off. It does swirl around here.
30-15. Fortunately, the wind generally is in the same direction that it was yesterday, so the planes from LaGuardia Airport, literally just half a mile from this stadium court, are not going to bother the players today, and it is a factor. Sure makes it more pleasant out there and here.
Sure does. I can hear you.
40-15.
So a point away from leveling up at 5 apiece. It's a rare double fault. Wasn't a great pressure time.
Well, Lendl has a very high toss, although it is lower than it used to be. And if it's windy down there, you want to try to keep your toss a little lower so you will not miss hit.
For serve.
Yes, the wind is really beginning to get up now.
That double fault looks a lot bigger now.
And you sure saw the reaction from Wilander. He's very pumped up for this match. His attitude has changed fundamentally in the last couple of years. He wants that title, and he really does want to be the world's #1.
Since he married Sonia Mulholland, he's changed.
That was about, let's see, 18, 19 months ago now.
And Mats puts the pressure on there at the crucial time, and it pays off. Here's set point. Right on the hour we've been playing.
Please.
Lendl made him pass.
A lot of courage shown there from Lendl, who did not feel that comfortable at net. Made Wilander have to go for the line. Look at their eyes, both of terrific eye control, concentrating on the ball.
Wilander's coach, Jan Anders Sjögren from Sweden. He hasn't had to teach Wilander anything about toughness in a crisis. These two are masters at it.
It's long.
And again, we saw the braveness on the crucial point. In the US Open. Well, yesterday, Steffi Graf wrote her own chapter in the rich history of this championship with that magnificent Grand Slam. And today, Ivan Lendl has his chance. If he can make it 4 in a row, it'll be the first time that's happened since Bill Tilden in the 1920s. There's a big incentive for Mats Wilander, too. The #1 spot in the world beckons for him. Well, watching the match with me, Billie Jean King and Cliff Drysdale. Billie Jean, despite the fact that Lendl's won the last 6 between them, a lot of... Tonight, Mats Wilander will become the #1 tennis player in the world if he beats Ivan Lendl in the final of the US Open.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Hello again from New York, where it's slightly cooler, but the weather set fair for the men's singles final.